Let me unmute everything. We should be streaming.
Okay, and the recorder, you got that too?
That's going.
Okay, sorry. Okay, call to order the East Amwell Township Planning Board meeting of February 17th, 2026. All rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You read the statement.
Do you want to do that first?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening and welcome. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the East Amwell Township Joint Planning and Zoning Board pursuant to the resolution adopted on January 20th, 2026, with a meeting notice sent to the Trenton Times. A copy of the agenda for this meeting was posted on the municipal website, posted on the bulletin board, and filed in the clerk's office on February 12th, 2026.
You know what we'll do? We'll stop before the roll call. And then two things. We have a new member. Welcome, Paul. And we also have Kathleen Anella is joining us as our secretary. So
Yes. Welcome both.
welcome both.
Thank you.
Can you do the oath of office?
Sure.
And then we'll have you take the roll
Now,
call.
there's nobody named Jason Reed here, right? 'Cause-
No.
All right, so then I'm gonna hold on to you. So would you like to,
Kind of moving around here.
repeat after me? Paul Payne. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution. Of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. And that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And to the governments established. In the United States and in this state. Under the authority of the people. And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly. Perform all the duties of the office of. Member of the planning board. Alternate one. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. You can sit and you just need to sign it. Yep.
Okay. Catherine, can you take the roll call, please?
Yes. Emily Deadweiler,
Here.
Dante DePiero,
Here.
Beth Hussein,
Here.
Matthew Cahat,
Here.
Lance Lothan,
Lathan, yep, here.
Lathan, Michael McGovern,
Here.
Al Nardi,
Here.
Rich Kanachi,
Catanacci, he is not here.
Catanacci, not here,
He's excused.
Candace Wiggum,
Here.
Pete Kineski, Jason Reed, Paul Payne.
Here.
And Sharon Dragon is here. All good. May I have a motion to open to the public for items not on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Who seconded that? So
First,
I'm gonna go slowly so
that's
she
okay.
can get used to everyone's names.
Okay.
Dante.
Dante and Al, yep.
And Al, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are open to the public for items not on the agenda. Going once, going twice. Okay. Without objection, we are closed to the public. Okay. Next up is review of the agenda, just couple notes. At the beginning of the meeting, I'm gonna ask Mr. DePiero to give us an update on the affordable housing plan and the actions that the township committee is taking and that we will need to take. And then the other thing I just want to let everyone know, that's it actually, so I'll let you start.
So on affordable housing, there were two challenges that were raised by entities in our township. Actually, one was outside the township, one was within, as to the sufficiency of our round 4 plan for affordable housing. It went to before the judiciary, and the decision just came out that our plan was sustained. So we have the green light to move forward to adopt, actually tinker on a couple small things, I believe, in the plan, and then adopt ordinances that would implement the plan. We have a pretty short time frame. This needs to happen before, I believe, March 26th. So Emily is scheduling a planning board meeting between now and then, and the township committee is scheduling a special meeting between now and the 26th in order to do those procedural things that would move forward with implementation of our Round 4 plan. Having that Round 4 plan in place protects us from builder's remedy and thrusting of other unwanted development into the town, and allows us to proceed with reaching our allotment, our obligation under Round 4 in the ways that this planning board worked out previously and as was approved by the township committee.
Thank you. Just one point, I think, I was told March 16th, and
That's what I understood.
yes, I think our deadline is March 16th, not 26th.
Your deadline, I think.
I think everyone's deadline to have them adopted, is what Jim told me earlier today.
Okay. Well,
And that was also what was in Tara's email. Because it
Okay.
makes a difference, because
16th.
we don't need a special meeting if it's the 26th, so it makes a big
Oh, I
difference.
see.
That's why I'm
well,
honing in on that date.
Well, Ed, we just have to coordinate to make sure, I don't know whether township committee has to go before the planning board or not, so I shared that letter from our attorney about scheduling, so
Yep.
if you and, you know, the folks will just coordinate on
Yep,
that.
yep.
That'd
So
be
I
great.
did see a special meeting of the planning, of the township committee already scheduled, right?
Yes, and we're probably gonna put it on for that, I think that's the is that, what's the date for that one?
28th.
So February 28th.
February 28th, yes, that sounds right. So, we'll add that too, we have another matter we had to handle, but
Okay.
that's probably when we'll be going.
So let's assume for a second the deadline is the 16th. Looking at the calendar, so, and our role will be primarily a master plan consistency review?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, good, there we go.
Yeah,
There's probably an amendment to your master plan, is that what we're doing? Is
Yes.
it gonna require small?
Yeah, small amendments. There were some procedural things that needed to be cleaned up as part of this process, and so the guidance from the court lists a couple things, so, our affordable, housing attorney was gonna be funneling those to you and to, anyone else we needed to make sure that those get into that, so we'll make sure you're in coordination.
yeah, so my working assumption is that we need to do a master plan consistency review, and then the township needs to have a hearing and adopt this. So so the
Yes, that-
township introduces it on the 28th.
Yeah,
We needed to do a consistency review, and then
and then I
township,
think we have a regular meeting before the deadline,
do you know when that is?
second Tuesday, so it's usually around the
Second.
11th or,
Second Thursday,
the
the
second
12th.
Thursday, yeah, so
12th.
12th or so, yeah.
12th of March.
Okay, so what I would like to put out there to everyone is that we will do a very short special meeting. Do we need,
Well, if you're going to be amending the fair share plan, then you have to have a hearing.
do we have a hearing, or do we
and
have
then
a,
you have a hearing, and then at the hearing, it has to be noticed, you know.
Yeah, that I
and
knew,
you
yeah.
send the notices, you know, the plan out, before that, 'cause I mean, we're doing that in other towns right now too.
Yep.
There's small changes, but you still have a
Yep.
hearing, and then at the
Right.
hearing, you say whether, or determine whether or not it's, consistent. And then you send your findings to the committee.
okay. So, I know for a fact that Jim can't make the 9th, the 10th, or the 11th. I don't know that, do we need him here for that? We could, Mike Davis.
Mike Davis would be probably the one.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
will, can I put a couple dates out there so people can give me some feedback on them,
Mhm.
and then I'll try to lock them down? Candace, you look thrilled with this.
Well, tonight's the one night I didn't bring my phone, so it wouldn't ring
Oh.
halfway through.
Of course, that's how it works.
I'll need to show you that trick about turning off your ringer later.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as you said that, I went,
Problem is that then I forget to turn it back on.
No, I understand.
the funny thing is I immediately went and turned off my ringer when you said that. I feel like that we need to have a quorum, we don't need to have everybody there, and I'm gonna have to push this onto the calendar. And full transparency, I am away until the 8th, so I'm leaving and then away for a little while. So, and I think Catherine's also away, so truthfully, the only time we can really do this is the week of the 9th. I'm gonna suggest that Do you don't have your availability, do you have yours?
I'm looking at my schedule. I'm usually free the second week of the month, usually.
Don't you say that.
Well,
Okay.
that is the second week.
Yes, I know.
So,
So, and I,
the Thursday would be tough, but I could do,
I'm gonna try for the 9th.
that's a Monday?
Yes, that's a Monday.
I won't be here on the 9th. I could be here the 10th or the 11th.
I could do
Okay.
it.
I'm booked all 3 days.
You're booked all 3 days, so you can't be here, so,
And I can't be here on the tenth.
okay,
I can't.
how am I gonna get a quorum? You're good all,
I
Well,
trust Dante
Mike?
to run things.
We have 5 people that
Speak
need
for
to
me.
be here
I
from the
could,
planning board.
Monday I could, Tuesday, like the
Thank
9th, yes, it's Tuesday
Seriously.
be better for me, but the 10th is, you can't make that, so if I had to, I could do it on the 9th.
okay. Paul, what about you?
I'm good all week.
Okay, I'm counting to 5 now, like at this point. May I borrow your pen? My pen literally, so we have plans. Hate to do this, make sausage here, but this is the only way I'm gonna get this done.
It's okay, we hate to hear
Yeah.
it too, so that's all right.
What's that? And you can you?
I'm available.
You're available, okay. And I'm available, so I think I can get 5.
Which is
And are you
Monday?
available? The 9th?
I'm not available
Okay.
Monday.
Okay. I'm gonna target the 9th. You may get an email with one other date that week. If I can get the 9th, I need to also check with Mike to make sure he can make it. I did not think to do that beforehand. But if you could pencil that in, and we'll try and lock that in.
7 o'clock on the 9th, so.
7 o'clock on the 9th, yeah. 3/9. More to come on that one. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any more questions other than about this before we move on?
The tenth is a Tuesday.
10th is
I
Tuesday.
can do the tenth, I can't do the 11th. That's when Gringo's Village Advisory Committee is.
I can do 10th, I could do the 10th also.
Seems.
You could do the 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
This is
But you
looking
can't
better.
do the 10th?
10th?
We have more votes for the 10th? How about you?
I am, okay.
I'm like, it gives us more time to get noticed then. You're out, okay.
I'm actually not sure about the 10th for me. Wait a minute, I thought I had another meeting. Okay,
It's a 3/9 or 3/10.
okay.
How's that?
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Anyone have any questions about this?
I think I'm okay.
I should have given you a heads up. Anyone have any questions? No? Okay. Next item on the agenda. Minutes for approval. So we're gonna carry last month's minutes, which we're back in February. So January meeting minutes will be, carried. There is a draft. I did work with Catherine on them. There was no video, so she didn't know everybody, so she had to guess who was everybody. So it took a little while. So I give her a lot of
It's like
credit
a
for how
puzzle.
much she got in there. And then we still have the November 2024 issue, so just putting that on
Just an audio.
there for acknowledgement. Resolution for approval. We have the Mattis resolution for approval. Does everyone have a chance to review it? Does anyone have any questions? Nope, okay. May I have a motion to approve resolution 26-05?
So moved.
Second.
So Matthew and Candace?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you take the roll call, please?
Do we
Do we need a roll call? I look at you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We do, that's what I thought.
But there's,
Just so we
so
can.
that, you wanna know the people that can vote?
I'll pull up no, I have the resolution here, so I
Okay,
think it's,
all right, go
wait,
ahead.
was it everybody that you listed on the
Yeah,
okay.
right, yes.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna pronounce this right. Catenacci?
He's absent.
He's
so-
absent.
He's absent, okay. Wiggum,
Yes.
McGovern,
Yes.
Lothan,
Yes.
Lathan, right?
Lathan,
That's all right.
Yeah, that's all right.
Kineski,
He's
He
absent.
cannot vote,
Absent.
yeah, he cannot vote.
Deadweiler,
Yes,
Kohat,
Yes.
Hussein.
Yes.
okay. Motion is adopted?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so that resolution's approved. Invoices for approval. Everyone have a chance to have a look? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the Van Cleef Engineering invoices, the East Amwell, the Van Cleef Engineering invoices, and the Commonwealth Mattis
I just have a
invoices?
question about that, it's my ignorance. Most of that's like surveying for the UAW property in
Yep.
New York. Does that come out of their escrow or?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we're not.
Yeah, in fact, when you look at the bill, it usually tells you like what account it is.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. Any other questions? May I have a motion to approve the invoices listed here?
So moved?
McGovern
Who was
first.
that?
McGovern,
McGovern? Okay.
second.
Second?
Okay. Lathan? Got it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you take the roll, please, on that one?
Yep. Emily Deadweiler,
Yes.
Dante DePiero,
We're on the invoices approval?
Yes.
Yes.
Beth Hussein,
Yes.
Matthew Koha,
Yes.
Lance Lathan,
Yes.
Michael McGovern,
Yes.
Al Nardi,
Yes.
Candace Wiggum,
Yes.
and Paul Payne.
Yes.
I don't think you can vote on that one.
Yeah, I can't vote on it.
Yeah, yeah. It takes time to sort those ones out. Okay. So they're approved, correct? Yeah. And then the meat of this meeting is going to be spent on the master plan, and I'm happy to see people here to discuss it. Before we move to that, I just want to, do we have any oral reports? I'd like to get those. Any oral reports? Any updates from the committee? I mean, the main thing we needed to talk about was the affordable housing. Okay. So, okay, land use element. The last time we met, I'm just gonna bring everyone up to speed where we are. So the last time we met, we had agreed to make some changes. Primarily, I'm doing this from memory now. We had gotten feedback, on removing, doing a rehabilitation study, potential plan, from the goals, from the new goals. And just, pause for a minute. Mr. Knesge's joined us. Life happens. So we're removing the goals. Go ahead.
And to leave it where it was in the previous
In the previous,
plan.
yes, at your, yep, which I thought was, so no, basically going back to where it was. It's in
Yep.
there, stays in there, but we're not bringing it forward.
As a recommendation of something the township committee could study.
Could consider, yeah, nothing more. We had, suggestion that we properly and fully define what type of retail would be allowed in the village. That, those changes were made. What were the other major changes? I'm trying to remember now. I'm going from memory. Those were the two ones that really stuck up.
Well, I think we have some for, ability for, businesses downtown and residential on top floor. Like a second floor residential apartments with a building, business. on the
Yeah, so
first
there was
floor.
there was that, I think that version was that discussion was in the previous version. I should just pull up my version. I had it up and I've now lost it. Yeah, thank you. So those were the primary changes. We've since then gotten feedback from members of the community, and we also realized, thank you, Candace, that some of the maps are out of date. So we have to update the maps, and we want to take into consideration some members of the community. So just basically, we needed another round of this, which is why it's still on the agenda here. Does anyone, I'm primarily going to open up to the public. I am waiting for, just for the record, Jim Kyle is about 10 minutes away. The flight came in quite late, so I'm hoping he will be here for the majority of this conversation. I'm going to dial him in so he can hear. But before I open up to the public, is there anything from the board that you would like to discuss? Because I think we really want to hear from the public.
I have
Go
one
ahead.
question. There was a, I'm trying to find it. Excuse me, but there was something about a pipeline on Toad Lane.
Thank you.
And it was supposed to be developed, and then it was called back. Nobody pursued it. Does anybody know anything if a pipeline is actually in there or anything?
No, there was a development that was supposed to be done, that was approved. The pipeline, I think, is a separate thing, but in any event, that property has not been developed.
Right.
Yeah, but I,
Where is that property?
Toad
Toad
Lane.
Okay,
It's along Toad Lane.
okay. Is that property specifically mentioned in the plan, or is it just you're bringing it up?
No,
Just
it's specifically mentioned
Yeah.
on the plan.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, which page it was on.
Take your time. Catherine,
It's only 51 pages,
Yeah.
so.
did anyone ever
21?
get those things off the printer?
I think they're like bound up. Do you want me to go check on them?
Yeah, we'll just pause for a second, because I think that it would be helpful to have the track versions. What's that?
Yeah, here we go.
That's not the version that I,
That's not the latest.
no. That's Dante's comments to me, that is not the latest version at all. I had her print out some of them.
Emily, that's on page 21, last one
Okay.
there, on vacant land or vacant land.
I've lost my page numbers, literally, just disappeared.
Yeah, they're not actually on the document, I was only going by the PDF.
But a PDF, interesting, because I've not looked at this printed out before, I've been using everything, I'm just
For
gonna,
some reason, it doesn't show up.
yeah, I am just gonna break down and open up my laptop, which is as slow as molasses, so.
It says there's a 75-foot wide pipeline easement on there too, so I didn't even know, was there ever a pipeline put in here?
This is page 21.
I don't know.
Is there something you wanna change, or you just wanted to know about it?
I'm just curious why,
Okay.
if this was, you know, set for subdivisions and properties, and nobody said or did anything, it was something that, is possible in the future, and is this, having a pipeline there, is it actually there or not? And what, you know, what could that, is that gonna cause any problem in the future?
Okay,
It just kinda caught my eye.
yeah, fair enough. So when you buy a property, I know this from experience, you find out what easements they have, and I would imagine that somebody's gonna look, hopefully, before they buy a property, if there's a pipeline easement that they don't want, and they won't buy that property. Oh, please, hopefully not everyone. Share, you two can please share, cause I only made,
Yes.
I only made
I'll
5
read
cause I
off
didn't
your
wanna
guys.
kill a bunch of trees,
Yeah, you're good.
and if you have it electronically. Can we share here? Cause I would love to be able to have members of the public have one if they want to come. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Anybody else want a copy of them?
Today, cause I was working on it. So I took some of Dante's discussion, things and tracked them, incorporated them, not all of them. There's other feedback that I'm gonna wait for members of the
Emily, what
public
page were you talking about?
to out. Page 21, I believe.
Under vacant land is the paragraph heading.
Okay. Before we open to the public, I just want to remind everyone, it is the policy of the board that public comments on an issue be limited to 5 minutes per person, and that no person shall make more than one comment per subject. This policy also applies to questions and comments during public hearings and applications. I do realize with something like this matter, there may be follow-up questions from people. We'll stick to the 5 minutes. If someone has a small follow-up question or comment, asked to be acknowledged, but no long comments. May I have a motion to open to the public? Do that? May I have a second?
Oh, we did.
Peter and
Okay.
Candace?
All in favor? We are open to the public for discussion of the proposed amended land use plan for local business, highway, office, village, and residential districts. I've gotten a lot of feedback, and I'm actually really happy to see people here. So, who wants to start? Oh, 1 second. Nobody?
All right, there we go.
Nobody? Somebody's gotta be brave.
He's being brave.
Why not?
Excellent.
Venture forth. I need a clarification first.
Okay,
5 minutes.
yes, 5 minutes.
Does that include my introducing myself?
Just make it, yes, make it quick.
Okay. And you also said something I wasn't aware of. It's one issue per 5-minute discussion?
Yes, but
No, it's one,
Okay.
yeah,
one.
one
just
comment.
One
per
comment.
5 minutes, yes.
Okay, well,
We're starting.
I'll take it as it goes.
And I think he's just commenting on the plan, right?
Yeah.
I think he might have been confused on whether he could say one thing about the plan. That's-
5 minutes on his comments.
I have, for example,
There you go.
2 comments on this plan.
And I
That's
I
fine,
think
that's
that's
fine,
totally fine.
that's totally
I
fine.
wanted to
Ro-
make sure you knew that, so you were.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
okay. I mean, otherwise I would have foamed at the mouth or something. Anyway, this is the meat part. So, my name is Blaine Hummel, and I've been a township resident since about the mid-1980s. I'm a retired environmental engineering professional with 50-some years of experience gained in service to industry and government on projects and studies across the U.S., in Canada, and in more than 40 countries worldwide. During my years in the township, I've chaired the Environmental Commission, organized and run some of you may remember this, 20-year-long annual township-wide roadside cleanup day, and helped convince Hunterdon County that East Amwell was not an appropriate location for a county-wide municipal waste landfill. I would raise 2 points this evening on the same
Yeah, go ahead.
topic. As I understand, a key part of the revised land use plan calls for the enhanced development of 2 business and highway office zones, one at the junction of 31 and Linvale Road, and the other junction of 31 and 518. My concerns lie with the effects of losses of potential hazardous materials to surface and groundwater associated with development activities in either zone, leading to the possible degradation of Stony Brook. To begin, consider the current land uses on the east side of 31 between Amwell Lake and 518. Amwell Lake is roughly 10 acres in size and lies within an 85-acre New Jersey State Wildlife Management Area, recognized as the headwaters of the Stony Brook and ultimately the Raritan River. Amwell Lake discharges to Stony Brook, which flows south for about a mile to the hamlet of Linvale, that's what it's called, and through the smaller of the 2 land use zones. Linvale currently houses a dozen or so buildings, including a 168-year-old wooden church, a large 2-story wooden building of similar age, and several newer, smaller structures occupied by what appear to be 1 or more small businesses. Stony Brook then flows downstream for another mile or so to and along the rear of a second larger land use zone, and then along the border of 3 roughly adjoining preserved use areas: a 42-acre DEP conservation easement, a 115-acre New Jersey agricultural easement, and a 215-acre DEP conservation easement. Rocky Brook then joins Stony Brook from the north and forms the 2-mile-long Rocky Brook Trail preserved stream and shoreline, which is maintained by DNR Greenways. Stony Brook then flows between 518 and beneath 518, and into Hopewell Township through Mercer County to the Millstone and onto the Raritan. Now, the lay of the land in the 2 township zones favors flow by gravity towards Stony Brook for all rainfall, snowmelt, and spilled liquids. And this regardless of the nature of the size or business operated in either zone. Other related concerns include discharges from septic tanks and leach fields, losses from any manufacturing activities, construction, or repairs, handling and spillage of raw materials and work-related waste, intentional discharges, and vehicle maintenance and cleaning activities, and this regardless of whether surface discharges are directed to temporary or permanent retention basins, or even directed to storm sewers and packaged wastewater treatment plants. It will eventually end up in Stony Brook. Take asphalt as an extra example. Many people believe that asphalt provides an impervious sealed base, but asphalt is neither impervious or forever. Chemicals leach from fresh asphalt and continue to do so for years. Runoff includes oil, plasticizers, heavy metals like copper, chrome, nickel, zinc, all based on the types and sources of crude oil used in making one batch of asphalt. Chemicals leach from add risk associated with binding agents used in every asphalt mix, including recycled waste materials such as car and truck tire rubber, steel slag, fly ash, and plastic for all manner of construction and demolition debris as well. And just a note, more than 300 materials are used in the manufacture of tire rubber, and ranging from carbon black or soot to cobalt, asbestos, yes, it's still used in some tires, and several heavy metals. Many of these materials are directly toxic to aquatic organisms, but a greater danger lies in their ability to accumulate in sediments while continuing to release contaminants to the water column over time. Now, the Raritan River Basin has been undergoing a state-sponsored cleanup since 2011, and Dee Kellogg has represented East Amwell on the state committee since East Amwell lies at the headwaters
Mr.
of the
Hummel.
Raritan.
You're a couple minutes over. I'm gonna ask you.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm just gonna ask you, what I'm getting is that this is an important part of the.
So my
Just
punchline
what is your
is,
punchline?
so please, whatever you decide to do, choose carefully,
Thank you.
okay? I do have one other item, and this deals with this also, okay? Just hear me out or cut me off when you have. One
Can you make
tenet
it
of
really
the,
short?
oh, yeah, I'll try. One tenet of the revised land use plans calls for broadening of the definition of potential businesses of interest to the township, one of which would favor the sale of handcrafted items referred to as farmer-made furniture, and in the process help support EA farmers and local business communities. Now, farmer-made furniture was totally new to
Let's-
me.
It's a great, let's take that as an issue and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
What I wanted
So
to.
you've raised two issues and we're gonna
let-
talk
let me-
about it.
Let me go this way, okay? Farmer-made furniture, I'd never heard of before, and I went and I looked it up.
I
and
hear you. This has been flagged by other people.
Oh, it has?
We will discuss it.
Aces.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And
Have
we
any
will discuss
questions?
these.
I'm here later.
I appreciate it and we will I've heard you and I'm going to discuss it. Next person? Anyone else have anything?
I would read the rest of Mr. Hummel's comments.
Anyone else have anything?
It's that long.
Yeah. I think Alice wanted to recognize.
Allison Accurso, 14 Worksville Road. Farmer-made furniture was a new term to me, and I was not aware of similar businesses in the area until I spotted a new billboard last week on Route 31 South near Route 654, announcing the coming of an Amish-made furniture store to Buxton Boxes. It's at the junction of Route 31 South and 295. The billboard included a picture of a bedroom suite display, and it occurred to me that this might be what the board meant. I was not aware of any Amish communities or settlements in New Jersey, and online research confirmed this. It also revealed one store selling Amish-made goods near Mount Holly, plus two others in Hackettstown and Neshannock Station, both run by an Amish Mike. And in digging deeper, I noted that these stores were selling outdoor storage sheds, garages, swimming pool houses, bathhouses, pavilions, and indoor furniture, all built in Amish workshops in Ohio, Indiana, and Pennsylvania, from trees felled and milled in Ohio, Indiana, and Pennsylvania. Now, from memory, at least some of these same products are currently available at Schaffernoth, Sweet Valley Farms, and a number of stores and markets in the Flemington area, and coming soon to Buxton Boxes, 20 miles south of Ringo's. As such, I fail to see how the import and sale of out-of-state farmer-made furniture will benefit township farming and be a desirable addition to the EA business community. Thank you for your time and consideration. Blaine Hummel.
Anyone else? And I just want to say for the record, I've gotten feedback, and so I want to make sure we get it all out, and then I have a list of things we're going to discuss, and I definitely want to have conversation.
My name is Les Hamilton. I live in the township. First, thank you for removing the other language that was really inappropriate for the village area. My comments are all about the recommendation section. I have concerns about pop-ups. I have a bunch of questions just to consider. Is this limited to local residents and home-produced products? I believe that most pop-up retailers will not be residents and not likely turn into local businesses. Someone will need to manage these pop-up businesses. for public safety, parking, traffic, food inspections, trash, etc. Will permits be needed? What if a really unacceptable type of pop-up arrives? How will this be addressed? Could a pop-up be a way to avoid a variance? Will Clausen Park be used? That will be additional stress on the septic system. The road crew will have to clean up afterwards. Local businesses pay property taxes. Will pop-ups pay in lieu of taxes? So consider those questions. I'm also concerned about changing the definition of farm markets to include furniture. I support helping farmers stay profitable, but farm markets shouldn't include selling furniture. As Blaine said, most retailers who sell furniture retail get it wholesale from Pennsylvania. I no longer oppose the area in need of rehabilitation paragraph. I learned from a friend who actually used this option, who said it is unlikely this program will be misused, and it could be helpful. Finally, I didn't see it in the latest draft, but in the previous draft, there was a suggestion to have less restrictive light ordinances for the highway office zone. Please keep the light ordinance the same for all of Ringo's, for that matter, all of the township. Businesses will not be harmed by complying with our common sense light ordinance. Note that in a recent business variance applicant complied without complaints, and the planner even complimented the board for the light ordinance. So thank you for listening to me. How much time was that?
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Good. I'll give my other time to anybody else who wants to talk.
Seize your time. Now,
Time broker.
yeah, maybe we'll get a market. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No. Come on up.
Hi, Nancy Cunningham, 14 Wurtsville Road. It's just a small comment that occurred to me when you mentioned that you're updating your maps. There's a photograph of a home at the bottom of page 52 that did at one time look like the photograph on that page, but it's the house that's been in the process of being restored and doesn't look at all like that. So I suggest you take it out of your,
I appreciate that.
all right, thank you.
52 photograph. Anyone else? I see other people back there. No? No one else? Okay, may I have a motion to close to the public?
Second.
Without objection, we are closed to the public. Just want to recognize that Mr. Kyle has joined us.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
You got here safely?
I did.
So we have none of this I think we'll just go through the feedback one by one that we've heard. I want to start with Mr. Hummel's, just sort of in order we heard it. Jim, this is discussing, you and I discussed this from the area from north of 518 up to
Yep.
Elmwood Lake. And Mr. Hummel, in my opinion, I want to, he's raised some issues, and I know you and I discussed it a little bit. Do you want to opine on that, what we were thinking, what you were thinking?
Yeah, it's kind of an area of the township that, it's a vacant property. It's about 26 acres. It's zoned.
It's one of the properties, yeah.
There's two properties there. One's like 0.6 of an acre. The other's 25-ish. So it's zoned highway office. It's weird because it's surrounded completely by the Mountain District. It's an undeveloped property. It's got the Stony Brook wraps around the whole back of it and runs all along the property. So it's probably something that hasn't been thought about. It's probably zoning that we should look at in a reexamination report. It might, first of all, there's no market for office in Hunterdon County.
Yeah.
Second, would we really want office there?
Yeah.
So it's something that we can look at, as we talk about the ordinance changes, if we do a re-exam this year or next year, that's something that we could fold into that analysis and
Yeah.
see if that still remains appropriate.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear it characterized as adding development in that area. I don't think we, at least in this version, added anything to that, even touched that area. I do appreciate the concern, but I don't have any recollection of us saying we're gonna increase development we're talking, I know this area very well because it's where I live, but it's essentially the
talking
little
about
Lindell Village.
Lindale?
Yeah, well, you live there, I mean, we all know that, this side of the room happens to live there, go right past it every day. There's existing buildings there, existing properties, existing businesses that are, I don't wanna use the word grandfather, but that's pretty much why they're there, why that district was there. I don't have any recollection of us ever saying we wanted to add development, notwithstanding the fact that I think it's a valid issue, your point, as Mr. Helmut, your point is well taken, especially, the areas where Stony Brook is running.
Well, Emily, if you're done, I have two things about that. So one is, I take it in this land use element that we're looking at, you're correct, we're not looking to add more development into that area or the others. So I don't think what we're doing today actually speaks to whether the township should rezone something as inappropriate. I think it's a good comment, but maybe for later, that's how I interpret it.
Yeah.
The other is, in terms of Mr. Hummel's comment, I guess I hadn't thought about the issue. So to me, I think the question he's raising is whether having a small commercial district there, for example, presents an untoward risk of having pollutants flow into the Stony Brook there.
Yeah.
And so that is a relevant
Yeah,
concern.
I think it's a very good point.
Is that something, Jim, that the town has thought about before in its plan, or that we can think about in terms of looking at these revisions to the land use element?
Well, I think water quality is something that's always been discussed in the master plan. So, the DEP's changing stormwater rules yet again now. So it's only going to become more difficult and more stringent. But I think it's something that's probably appropriate to look at in a re-examination, not necessarily here, but I guess the question is, do we want to have some recommendation in this report that says we should look at it?
Yeah, so I would say yes to that, and I appreciate your explanation, because if that is more properly done in a re-examination, this is our vision of that would be helpful, so I would endorse that notion. And that way, it's something that we have on our to-do list essentially, and look at.
Yeah.
'Cause I think,
And the map we have does not show the conservation areas that Mr. Hummel was talking about. I think those need to be reflected
Okay,
in the map that's there. That's one of the maps
that's out of date,
yes.
okay.
Wouldn't it also be true that if somebody wanted to develop more in that area, they'd have to come before the planning boards and the zoning boards anyway? And you'd have to have a plan for water, too, is that correct?
well, but I think based on what our standards are, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think Jim's point, if I understand it correctly, is that by doing a re-examination, we would look and see whether we should have more stringent standards to protect what Mr. Hummel's talking about. And I think that sounds right to me. We at least need to look at that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, but I think the back of that property is sloping, right, towards the Stony Brook, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why it's a Stony Brook, right?
Yeah,
Because that's where everything flows,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
So,
Lowest point.
Candace, do you remember the map number on that?
I can give me a half a second.
It's page 43.
Just wanna make sure we're not scrambling to find it later, okay. I'm just gonna keep it here. if you don't mind. Any other comments on the discussion, on the issues raised by Mr. Hummel?
I had just one question. What were the conservation areas you were referring to?
Well, it's like the Stony Brook where you go hiking from 518 up to Snydertown
Yes?
along Stony Brook.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great area to hike.
Don't
Yeah,
tell
there's-
everybody.
Are you talking about preserved land? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out
No,
what.
it is public, is it
I don't
Friends
know.
of Hopewell Valley? I forget whose signs I see, cause there's so many different signs.
Well, it may be the trail we built right through the easement from Rambling Pines up to Snydertown.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
so, right, so that,
Yes.
okay. I'm not sure what that's shown on, but if that's relevant, then sure. I mean, to me, that's different than water quality, right, because the hiking area. However, all of those tributaries, named or unnamed, going into the Stony Brook are relevant, and I think that's what a reexamination would need to look at. So, to me, I'm not sure if we need to have a map of that in
Well,
the
we've
land
got a
zone.
map that's there that doesn't show any of that. And I
Well-
just think it's relevant to show it when we're talking about developing that area.
Well,
Is
we're
no-
not talking about
Is anyone
developing
talking about
that area.
developing that area, though?
No, but close by.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what the answer is. One of the tensions in our proposed amendment to that, 10 years old plan or whatever it is that we're taking that older plan and putting some newer recommendations into it. So I would be loath to like redo
Open up all
all
the
of the
maps.
maps and
Yep.
redo everything. And there is a statement that Jim put into this document that says, the original document was a hiring rule document of whatever year that was. So, I mean, I guess I would ask you, is this important enough that we should be changing maps? Because if we do that, there's a lot of maps that could be updated from the last time we did this.
Yeah, and I was thinking we would change the zoning map, and then I was going to, ask Candace if there were other ones that were largely out of date, and then refer to
that's-
Jim and
that's a
say,
fair way.
Jim, is this,
Yep.
this material, like, I'm looking at this map right now, that it has none of the, it's just, this is a land use map. So, and it has none of the, trails, none of the,
Well, I'm fine with you using your discretion. If a number of members have things they want reflected, I'm just cautioning that we're not redoing the whole land use element, and it's what, 100-something page document, right? And so, the historic section can all stay, but we have to query whether we want to replace all of the new land use.
Well, the
Maps.
other one that I brought was the one that shows the businesses, since we're talking about businesses, and it's way out of date.
Well, I'm saying, as in terms of process, maybe recommend them to Emily, whichever ones folks think is important, but just realize it's a little bit of two things together in one document.
yeah, and it's a slippery slope that we could be doing maps for a really, really long time, getting these updated, and I'm telling you, we gotta,
Because I know you're trying to bring this to
I'm trying to bring it to a
resolution.
close, yeah, so. The other thing is we can make sure the dates on the maps are there, sort of accurate as of or whatever, and then, the only thing I do feel like the zoning map needs to be corrected, but other than that, but we can work together on this for the 3 days I have, no, just.
Yep.
Anyone else have anything on that subject?
The FEMA floodplains map is quite telling as well. That one's on, it's page 41 of the PDF file, but it shows there's actually a large wetland that extends almost to Highway 31, like over halfway across the property.
On that property, yep.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't even realize it extended that far. But to me, that map is actually way more interesting and revealing. And it kind of shows where, I haven't been on that trail, but it seems to show where the trail probably is based on where the wetlands are and where you
Yeah.
Yes.
could actually walk.
Yes.
But I didn't realize how interesting that area was.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hidden gems here. Yeah. And I think, I think it's important to protect them and be aware of what we're, unintended consequences, so I do agree. The next item, I'm just taking these in order, is pop-ups, and I think we should talk about the furniture and the pop-ups together. Because I think that, my recollection is the genesis of the pop-ups and I've read this plan many, many times, I wasn't involved in creating it. It was really a recommendation of a way to showcase East Amwell, allow small little, almost like farmers markets. Crafts and farmers markets, and, you know, it's sort of like a bridge to creating, activity in the village or in East Amwell. Again, I wasn't there, but, you know, we've heard feedback, concerns, and what are people's thoughts on this one?
Well, there was one concern about the cleanups and things like that after like a pop-up or a farmer's market, things like that. And I believe most places you have to pay for a permit.
Yeah,
to
and I
join,
think it
so-
talked about a permit in there,
So these things are all, you're gonna know who you can, you know, somebody's gonna know who to invite and who not invite, and, it's gotta be specific, you know, you're gonna have a dumpster or whatever to dispose of trash and things like that, so.
So let me ask the bigger question. Anytime you do anything, there's all kind of potential negatives, right? Do we see a value in leaving that in there as an idea to be explored someday by somebody as a way to create activity in the village or in the township? That's to me, and then, yeah, there'll be permits. Yes, there's things, you know, do we, you know, I didn't see it as so harmful, but I'm, you know, I just wanna hear from people, if anyone has a strong opinion.
I mean, I'll give you my inclination. I mean, I think both pop-ups and, you know, furniture stores seem to me to bring more potential problems than benefits. I mean, I think we obviously should support local farmers and agriculture. I think, you know, the line sometimes with what's agriculture can be a little difficult to determine, and I think, you know, a furniture store to me is not necessarily agriculture, especially when we don't have people planing wood, and this like from, you know, the Sarlin Mountain. You know, if you get someone who uses a
Dead ash
portable
trees.
saw and, you know, cuts through and makes a table out of it, you know, it's rare, although that would be kind of a related thing. That's the kind of activity wouldn't be so bad, but I think a statement saying that we encourage that, I think would go too far. In terms of pop-ups, I do share Les Hamilton's concerns that, you know, we don't have a police force. You know, bringing in a large number of people, not only just litter, but you have to police it.
I mean, I think of this as sort of what we do in Clausen Park, right?
Well, but see, everything's what's in a name, right? What's the definition of a pop-up? I mean, obviously having activities in Clausen Park, that goes great. You know, you have the trunk or treat, and you have, you know, music, and you have things. Those all fit well. I'm just, you know, not sure that pop-up businesses works, and so I mean, I think so for me, I think there could be more investigation into it, but I don't know that I'm ready to risk, you know, our rural character on saying that that's something that, you know, should be done at this point. I think the planning board could do more investigation outside of this into that and get more information, and maybe there's a way of doing that, or a way of doing some of these, you know, furniture that could actually fit our character, but I would be a little concerned about including it now.
Just for the record, we didn't add that, it's in there now, so this would be something we're pulling out.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's why when, you know, when you circulate for comments, my comment was taken out.
Yeah.
I've always had a concern about pop-ups. I've talked to you about that before. The only one that I really remember, other than the ones that are down in the fairgrounds, is fireworks pop-up that was at one point on the municipal property.
Can't believe that's what they were thinking.
You know,
Okay.
if it's people from within, great, but if we bring in people that we don't know from without, we don't know what we're getting. The other concern that I have is we actually have pop-up things kind of like that are run by the Grange. They have spring markets and Christmas markets and all kinds of things, and very much like what's described in here. And again, I don't wanna compete with one of our main nonprofits in town.
Any other comments?
I'm more inclined to keep it in, because when I think of a pop-up, I don't think of a collection of pop-ups where you're having to close down the street and you have a giant influx of people all at once. I think of maybe one or two businesses at most that might, pop up, and you have a handful of people that come and go throughout the day, like a normal business. You're not shutting down a street for pedestrians only and having a bunch of trash thrown all over. It's not a festival, it's not a fair, it's just a couple businesses that are trying something new. I agree, I think it could be interesting.
That's how I mean, not the same, but I was at Market Fair, and there was Federal Donuts there giving out donuts. I guess they're going
Right, but how could they start selling?
If you please have a pop-up of donuts and coffee for me. No, sorry.
How could they start selling like marijuana paraphernalia?
It's not
That's
legal.
Like, you can't sell
But the thing is,
pipes
I
and
mean,
bongs, right? I wouldn't want that in our town.
and I don't, this is not something I'm gonna advocate strongly for, like make a big deal, but I think, I'd like to think that there's some creative ways of allowing people to come in and try something, right? And you have a permit, and by the way, if this recommendation stays there, I think we have to do a whole bunch of ordinance writing to deal with all this. So it's literally a recommendation of, here's an idea of something we could do to bring activity to the village. That's to me how it, so if you ask me for my vote, I'd say, let's just take out the furniture because, and keep the pop-ups. That would
Is
be
there
my
any
vote.
like scope language already in the pop-ups that would limit it to something like, what he's talking about?
I think we said small, I think you added more smalls.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, if
joking.
we included it, I know I put some modifiers to keep the.
Local
keep- kinda
businesses,
do what you were
permits,
saying.
something to be open to.
Could you say pop-ups in keeping with the rural character of East Amwell, something to
But that's
that
up
effect?
to interpretation, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we should really look hard at that one.
Would it
My
not,
opinion.
would it not abide by the local business district expand? Are we going to expand the uses? Because that's another thing I think that's recommended, right? If we were going to,
So there was a discussion about expanding uses, and we were we tailored that and reduced sort of that recommendation from the last version.
right.
But it's still in there.
But you're right, it's still in there.
Yeah, I think the concern was that the existing language could be read as too broad in what we were
And we
inviting.
narrowed that.
And so it was narrowed to be more tailored.
It almost seems to me that if you wanna promote new businesses to come into the business district, you wanna have an awareness that it's there. And I would think maybe a limited pop-up with permits and stuff may help along that lines, if you're careful of, who you bring in and stuff. If it is, agriculture or things like that, craft, it's a possibility that you could keep it limited and still raise that awareness of, here's a district that could be expanded upon a little bit.
Okay.
And what's the nature of like the first part of the section on pop-ups? Is it saying that we're recommending them or saying that it's
let
worthy of an investigation?
Let me
or what?
go to that section. I got a different document up here. I love Control F,
Yeah.
except for you have to, if you go, then you get every reference to population.
At the bottom of page 46,
See, then you have somebody who's just
it is
logical.
recommended that the township investigate and consider a permitting process that streamlines the approval of temporary or pop-up farmers markets within Marengo's village.
So, sorry, read that first part again, Candy. It's recommending that,
It is recommended that the township investigate and consider a permitting process that streamlines the approval of temporary or pop-up farmers markets within Ringo's village.
so
This is
streamline-
where we narrowed this language a bit, because the concern was pop-ups is a broad thing, so
Yeah.
let's focus it on farming, rural character. So at least that's what we discussed.
Pop-up retail trade like farmers markets tend to be geared towards small-scale local business owners and can be a great way to provide opportunity for local farmers and food operators to sell their products. They also offer an avenue for local farmers to sell their crafts and farm products such as cheese, pies, jams, etc. Municipalities benefit from pop-up uses as they bring in activity to an area that might otherwise be vacant. It is also a low-cost and low-risk option for vendors and can act as a potential catalyst for long-term investment in the area. And it continues from there.
That's, and this is why I'm
Yeah.
sort of like, do I, you know,
Well-
sounds positive and negative to me.
No, I know what it sounds like too, that's what I'm trying to have a conversation.
Sorry.
I mean, so one thing about the way that's written, that sort of, it uses it sort of references, it says what, it could be local and they tend to be, you know, I mean, if the planning board's thinking of doing it, of putting something in, maybe could recommend that the township could consider looking into pop-ups on a small scale for local businesses and local agriculture that doesn't provide issues for traffic or litter or need for police force. That sounds okay to me because it's more targeted to what I think you're envisioning it, which is why I think you are finding it more palatable than when I think about it. I'm like, as a lawyer, okay, how could this go wrong? Like, who could jam their way in there, right?
Okay. I'm trying to decide where we're going on this one.
Let me ask one other question.
Okay.
As I referenced earlier, the Grange has essentially pop-up stores. You know, it has, in April, it's gonna have an arts and crafts thing. In the fall, or in July, it's gonna have a Christmas market. Will they have to go through the permitting process if we do something for pop-ups?
Good question.
I mean, it's like we don't talk a lot about our nonprofits in here and the impact of that, and I just wanna make sure that what we do doesn't end up negatively impacting those people who are already here doing like activities. And essentially selling some of the same things that are suggested in here. Rummage sales, I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
you know.
Yep. I'm gonna circle back to this after I find out if there's were there any other issues that came up? I'm trying to make sure I had everything that was raised.
Well, you only spoke briefly on the furniture stuff, right?
I was,
Right.
kill it.
I would consider us taking that out. I think a better case could be made for a narrowly limited pop-up, in my opinion, than furniture stores.
So there was never a recommendation for furniture stores. There was, my recollection is that expand the definition of farm market to allow locally made
Right, and I'm
handmade
saying,
goods.
and I'm saying I disagree with that.
Yeah, I hear,
Right,
and I'm
because
like,
that's encouraging, and I'm not saying that activity, but I think, to me, that goes, in practice, goes further than actually supporting agriculture, right? It's supporting furniture making, which is not necessarily even our local folks doing anything.
So the only place this appears is page 49. It's item number 3.
which was,
It's recommended for the township. It's recommended the township either broaden the definition of farm market or create a new use that allows for the sale of handcrafted items such as furniture that also supports East Amwell farmers. These types of items tend to go hand in hand with farmers markets and are complementary uses that support local craftsmen.
I have to confess, this one baffles me. I don't think of
Okay.
outdoor furniture
Yeah.
sales as something that I tend to bump into.
I mean, it seems as though if there were a lot of people in East Amwell, like you said, Dante, cutting down trees on the mountain and turning it into tabletops, like you see in West Amwell on 518,
Yeah, exactly.
right? That guy
Put some
cuts those
planks up,
slabs and
exactly.
puts them out there, and
Yep.
people buy them and make them into benches and stuff.
Right.
I mean, if the sense is that there's not a lot of that happening in the township, then maybe there is really no local benefit. I mean, if we had
Right.
people doing that, yeah, I could,
Right.
but
then we
I
could
don't-
carve out something for that for our local folks, but since we don't. Yeah,
Anything else?
I mean, my recommendation on that would be to let Jim expurgate those pieces to tighten it up.
Okay.
Lucky Jim, but.
Okay, yeah. So I would like to, after, now that we've had this discussion, we've heard from the public, we've discussed it, I'd like, if everyone's amenable, to open to the public for follow-up, 1 minute follow-up per person, if anyone has anything to say.
Did you say 1 minute?
1 minute.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
You're making sure,
Wanted to make
1
sure
minute,
everybody- yeah.
yeah. Is anyone, okay. Without objection, we are open to the public for follow-up, 1 minute per person. Very fast.
Marnie Stetson, East Amwell resident. I just, and I was involved in the original version of this. And we did a pilot pop-up farmer/market under the auspices of the Environmental Commission in Glosson Park. It was so innocuous that none of you remember it. And Dante even performed at it. We had 2 local flower
I must have been
farmers.
preoccupied.
We had 2 local flower farmers. It was all local. It was during the day. It wasn't disruptive. It had a great community spirit. So I'm just offering it as a possibility that it can exist without competing with the Grange and without destroying the rural character of the town.
Okay, thanks. So-
Thank you.
Anyone else for follow-up?
Allison Curso, on the Mr. Hummel's comment about Route 31, you may want to go further and make a recommendation about rezoning that area away from highway district, from highway business.
Possibility.
Yeah, I think that's.
I mean, after looking at the re-exam info, I think that, that's a possibility. I don't know, but, yeah, re-exam could tell.
But in this report, one could say it's come to our attention that that's an environmentally constrained area in the township, and the re-examination report may want to think about
Want to
rezoning it.
consider. Yep,
Yeah,
thank you.
I think that's a good,
Yeah, I
a
agree
good
with
ad,
that.
put it
Yep.
in there as a pen, put a pin in it so we don't forget.
Yep.
Clarify for me, are you saying the pop-ups are only for people who are residents? Or people who live in New Brunswick can come in with their products and sell them?
Yeah, I was saying I would limit it to locals. That's what I was saying. Other folks didn't comment, but that's. Because-
I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. Is the honey producer in Stockton a local? Like, how do you define local?
Well, an ordinance
I
would
think
have
it
to
def-
do this, right?
Yeah,
And
but I think it could,
it would
that
have
would
to go
define
through
the
a
types.
myriad things,
Exactly.
but, right, I mean, I think that would be the time to look at those details, but the notion, I think, is. yes,
Local in that way, yes, but I thought you meant like East Amwell only, and that's where I was like, yeah.
I don't know that we could
Do that
in
even.
an ordinance.
Yeah.
Legally.
That wouldn't
Yeah.
really be.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, what are the types of products? If people from other parts can come in, they can bring in products maybe we're not even thinking about. And what do you do? If it's something that really doesn't fit, you have to have something that lets the board or the township control that.
It's a whole thing, I mean, that's the
And
problem.
once you start
with
this, it's the
saying it.
nose of it's
Yeah.
the slippery slope.
But yet it was done.
I'm not against
a-
having more businesses in Ringo's. I'm just saying, do it in a way that doesn't cause problems.
Well, obviously, that pilot was done without having this.
That's what I was
ordinance,
about
right?
to think, that you
So-
have to even have this.
Right, and so that kind of goes to Candy's point, which is if we can kind of sponsor small things like that in Clawson anyway, and if the Grange can do it anyway, do we need to really legislate a whole program on something? Especially when we don't have a lot of it.
Because we're not people lining up for it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So I just consider it, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else from the public?
Yes, Blaine Hummel again. If you guys have already done this, I apologize, I don't know the front end, but have you perhaps spoken with Hopewell Borough or Devore Farm to see how they've written and how they select the people that they want to come to their periodic farms, whenever the farm markets, whenever they have them, just to see what the wording looks like?
I've been to Devora Farms events, but I don't know what their criteria is.
Well, I can
It's a
tell
good
you, none
question.
of the farmers at the Hopewell Borough Market are from the borough. They're all, you
No,
know,
I agree.
yeah, they're all kind of
Absolutely.
regional.
Well, that was my point,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, and there's stuff there like bread,
Oh, yeah.
and there are people who go.
It's actually great.
It is.
Yeah.
It actually is. They have a little jazz band periodically and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if you don't have it but once a month or once every 3 weeks or something like that during the summer, what I'm getting at is rather than knocking ourselves out trying to think of what the proper wording is, like you're okay to serve cheeses and so on and so forth as long as you don't have people keeling over from food poisoning because we allowed you to come and now we're responsible somehow for doing this. It's just something that we have something to go on rather than thinking about it as we move along.
Yeah.
You know, a starting point.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, thank you. Anyone?
Hopewell Township's got, they allow a farmer's market every Saturday at Rosedale Mills.
Yep.
You know, that's probably
It's where I
maybe
get my
the kind of
produce.
thing you're thinking of.
You get a
right?
lobster roll when you're there too.
Yeah.
So what I'd ask is, do you happen to know, do they have any particular ordinance that permits that, or
You
is
have
that?
to look at it, whether it's done via
Part of
special
it.
event permit
Right.
or ordinance.
Because a special event permit, you know, we can do that now.
Right, you can
and-
do that on anything, you know,
Right.
municipally owned property, you can decide to do
Yeah.
any activity on,
Right.
you know, one of your parks, you don't need an ordinance to do
Right.
that.
And that, I mean, that's where I would land on this issue,
Okay.
is not include, you know, a recommendation that we do a whole thing on pop-ups, but rather, you know, use, special event permits or the like, or just invite people to Clausen or the Grange as we wish to do.
So,
And I know that, I mean, in another town, Reddington, they did a farmer's market ordinance, just seasonal, you know,
Right.
just at certain locations, and that was it, and they had some conditions on it, you know, so the town could do something like that too, without having to put that in your master plan if you
yeah,
don't want to.
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Okay.
Was the township and the borough the same place?
No.
No,
Okay.
she's talking about, Rosedale Mills.
And I'm talking about the borough.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
right.
You're
we're
talking
in
about the train
shopping
station.
village.
There's a-
Actually,
No, down by the
there's a little
Super
shopping
Eagles.
center, and they have a green space there in front of the
Okay,
bank.
yep, there's, yeah, I know, is that the one by Antimos? That
Yeah,
area?
exactly.
okay.
Precisely. So I don't know.
two
Anyway,
different-
there's paperwork somewhere that
Yeah.
allows you to think about it.
I can ask Ryan what they do. I mean, he
Anyone else from the public? Without objection, we are closed to the public. So to put a pin in the pop-ups.
You were just waiting to say that.
No, I was not, actually. I didn't even plan that until it came out. I was like, wow. I'm thinking we can either pull it out or we can come up with one or two sentences that says something about, you know.
Our ability to do that kind of thing already.
Exactly,
Just
like
a la what
encourage
we were just saying.
more use of this and.
Yeah.
To sort of acknowledge that special events are a thing that can bring people to the
I mean, you can even
township.
acknowledge Marty's point that, you know, a
We've done
pilot
it
was
and it
done
worked,
once,
yeah.
and without creating a whole legislative scheme, we can use our existing
Yeah.
special events permits or whatever to do that, to bring interest and local businesses in there, and then we can choose which ones we're authorizing and do it for, you know, essentially local folks to encourage their, and help them. I think that would be good.
Yeah, I feel like that doesn't lose the sentiment and the idea, but it also maybe doesn't cause as much agita, a better word. Is everyone good with that?
I'm good with that. I just want to make a clarifying point. So a pop-up, we've been talking about this as though it's almost like a special event or an
Yeah.
outdoor venue. Pop-up, that's not really what pop-ups
It's
are.
one person.
They're like a storefront business that is temporary. They're
Yeah.
trying to launch a new product or they've got something they're trying to get out. So I think we're talking about two different things. honestly.
Okay.
So a vacant storefront in Ringo's along the main business corridor there, what's attractive about them to businesses is they lower the risk and cost because it's a short-term lease. It's usually like a month or maybe 2 months lease, right? So they're in and out to test the product, to sell something for a temporary basis, and it's not.
But the practicality of that, I don't think we don't have it. I mean, the carousel's out of business, right? We don't really have little businesses now that someone could rent. I mean, if you went to
Yeah.
Hopewell Borough, for example, there are a number of storefronts, and if somebody went out of business or rented it, I could see exactly what you're talking about, but I don't think we have that kind of stock.
Yeah.
So I don't know that anybody could come in on a temporary basis and do something like that.
Without restoring everything or making
Yeah,
it.
anyway, and then once you've done that, that's the big investment that you were talking about them trying to avoid to try
So
out
the
something.
leasehold improvements are usually minimal. That's the idea, is that it's a business category that doesn't require that. It's very flexible. It's something, maybe they even like cottage industry type stuff where they're making it offsite. They're just bringing it in to sell it or something. So I kind of wish we had the half a dozen cottage industry food producers here and that came for, then they could talk about how they might want to use something like that. But anyway,
Yeah.
but I just want to make
Oh,
that
I'm glad you
point,
did,
'cause it's
'cause
a very different
I
thing
wasn't
than
aware
just
of that.
a Saturday event where you've got a few tents and a few. That's
I
not
see.
what a pop up really like. Technically, is not what it is.
I don't know that there's any market for what you're describing as a pop-up there,
I'm trying to think of this.
right? I mean, what's commercially zoned that could be turned into something for a couple months? I don't, and then what does that mean for traffic or anything else? I have no idea. So to me, I think that's a worst case to make.
I would love to have a problem with people coming for traffic to
Yeah.
come into East Amwell to
Well,
buy something.
I think, and that's, once we get through this plan of, doing the visioning in a land use element, I think some of the stuff we talked about turning to next is, so how to bring in
Yeah.
businesses of the type that we want, encourage that. And maybe we renew this discussion as part of that.
Okay.
Because that's where we want to get to eventually, is having, some businesses want to come in and see if the town can provide them some financial incentives to do it, and,
So we'll remove the word pop-up, but we will add something, creative ways to get small businesses to come to East Amwell, try East Amwell.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
you
good
don't
with
want,
that?
you don't wanna, like a catch-22 where, you
Yeah.
have to fix
But
something.
remember, this is just an idea,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
your idea, okay. Is everyone okay with that? Okay.
I think you just have to work on the language of that, but yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'll leave that for you.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else in land use that I haven't brought up? So we go through the changes. Remove the references to furniture, we're not gonna, rezoning or redefining a farmer's market to include furniture. Add something about,
Zoning that,
re-
Linvale
looking at,
area?
yeah, the 518-31 corner.
Yeah, so could I be more specific on that?
Yeah.
My takeaway on that was that we recommend in this, land use element that there be consideration of a reexamination of that area on Linvale Commercial, to determine whether, there need to be any additional standards for pollutants getting into, the Stony Brook, et cetera, and also consideration of whether it's still appropriately a commercial district.
Yeah, okay. I think that's good. What other changes did we agree to? We're going to have a very limited, very small section, remove the word pop-up, but discuss special events and creative ways to invite small businesses to try East Amwell.
Local small business.
Local small businesses. Okay. That's good. Anything else that we agreed to? I'm going through my notes. We have to look at the maps, but we're gonna try not to change all of them. I think that's it. We're good?
Update the zoning map.
Yeah, the zoning map will get updated, but I'm not sure that I'm gonna open up
Yeah,
the can of worms
totally
for all of
understood.
them. Oh, the photograph on page 452. Okay. So we will work on getting something out to everyone, and then, the draft, whatever comes out next is final. If you have objections to it, I'll ask you to raise them quickly, and because then, if we want to, we'll try to adopt it, not at the special meeting, but the next meeting in March, and that there's a pretty long lead time on notice. We have to send copies of it to all the clerks locally, and I think it goes by snail mail, so.
So just to clarify, you'll get this out to us ASAP, so
Yep.
we can have one last look at it, make any quick comments
And then it's done.
before 2 weeks
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
So that it can be put out and noticed.
Yep. And I'm gonna ask Jim and Dante to help get this drafted
Yeah.
before I leave for Argentina, because I'm not doing it on vacation.
When are you leaving?
3 days.
Okay.
Just being straight up honest. Okay, now everyone knows that. I think we're done. Is that anything else on the agenda?
I'm gonna just say thanks for your work on this and consideration of this. I think it's really important that we update and make some revisions to the land use element. I think it's been a very good discussion with us and with the public. And a lot of members of the public made contributions, which have been helpful.
Yeah, I do appreciate everyone coming and caring and all of your comments and feedback, and I take it on board, so thank you. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Okay, we are adjourned. We are adjourned.